All right, welcome back everybody to the How to Find Fish series. I hope you're enjoying these videos. This is going to be the last one in the How to Find Fish series, unless you have more comments, or unless I see more topics in the comment section. I don't have a problem filming them at all. So if you have a comment or if you have a question about anything, post in the comment section. And if I see enough of them, I'll make another video on that topic. Okay, by the way, this is the Flopping Crappie channel. I'm Davis. Welcome back if you're enjoying this series. If you're new, bottom right corner of the screen, there's a red subscribe button. Be sure to click the bell. The bell's gonna notify you every time I post a video in this series and in the upcoming video, 30-day video challenge series coming in the month of September. So today's topic, I actually wanted to answer some questions in the comments section here. I wrote them down. But today's main topic is finding the brush piles, how to mark those brush piles, and then kind of how to set up on them to vertically jig them. So the first kind of question, whoops, in the comment section related to why not use fish ID on your sonar unit. So I'm gonna go here, see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So is it fish ID alarm? I've never even used it on this unit, to be honest with you. We'll see if it works. So the main reason I told this person not to turn on their fish ID, now fish ID alarm might be different than fish ID. And basically what it is, it'll actually show a picture of like a goldfish. It'll look like one of those goldfish crackers, or it might be a different color than gold, but that's what it'll look like. And the problem with that, your unit assumes that anything that has a hard ping, so when the unit sends down sonar and it hits something with a hard ping, it assumes that's a fish if it's suspended off the bottom. And the reason that's not good is if you cut the corner on, let's say, a brush pile, if there's a branch sticking out and your unit sends down that ping from your sonar unit, it could read that as a fish, when in reality it's not. It has to make a lot of assumptions when you have that. Oh, here we go, fish ID. Bingo, fish ID is on, okay. I've never used it on this unit, so I know what fish ID is. I've seen it on other units, but I have no idea if it's working or not. I mean, clearly there's fish. There's definitely fish down there on these brush piles. I don't know. Either way, it makes a lot of assumptions that I don't think will help you out in the long run, okay? So if you're using 2D sonar, just leave that fish ID off. Use the regular it's called Chirp Sonar. These newer models are Chirp Sonar. Just use that type of sonar, okay? So let's get into Chirp Sonar. Somebody asked the question if down imaging was Chirp Sonar. Chirp Sonar, CHIRP, is, I don't know how long ago it came into play. Chirp Sonar is just almost a real-time, well, it's as close as possible to real-time sonar as these 2D units have ever been, okay? Because a lot of times these 2D units, if you've bought them, let's say 10 years ago, all they showed was historical data. They didn't have this scope on the right, or you had this real-time kind of signature on the right here. Now, this is real-time data. That ping is getting sent down from the sonar unit to the lake bottom. It's sending a signal back and it's reading it, okay? That's real-time, or it's as close as possible to real-time. So open water fishing wasn't really the biggest push with trying to get this to be really fast response. It was actually ice fishing. A lot of ice fishing units now have this type of screen, okay? Even though you're just sitting below a hole and it's pinging back and forth the same stuff, because it's real time or virtually close to real time, you can actually see your jig bouncing up and down. Before that, most ice fishing units were just a flasher unit, something that kind of looked like this. Let's see if I can, yeah, something that looked like this. It was just a flasher unit, went around like that. So to answer this person's question, Chirp Sonar relates to 2D sonar. It's a faster ping speed than the older models, okay? It's virtually real time. Oh, so another person asked that they weren't getting good resolution with their down imaging and or their side imaging. And it might be because your transducer isn't level in the water, okay? A lot of times, and mine is slightly tilted down, like by a couple millimeters. The only reason that's the case is your transducer will actually get pinned between two little plastic washers, I guess, and they got teeth cut into them. And it's either it's gonna sit 2 millimeters up like this or 2 millimeters down. It's not gonna sit flat. I just can't quite get it. It's just the way it got mounted in. So I'm fine with it. I'm comfortable reading my screen, but if you're having trouble with resolution and you're adjusting your sensitivity and your contrast and all that stuff, and you're still not seeing any fish or stuff looks distorted, it's probably you got to level out your transducer. It could be canted one way or the other or tilted up and down. How do I mark brush piles? First of all, you're going to need one of these, preferably 2 of these. I had 2 of these. I cannot find the other one in the boat, so we're just going to use one today. First, we got to go find some brush piles. And there's a bunch of fish in open water. God dang it. All right, we're gonna hurry this video up because I wanna go fishing. Look at all those fish. Look at them all. They're just stacked up everywhere. This is crazy. Okay, so how do you mark your brush piles? All right, so you're gonna be using you can use a split screen if you wanted to make sure you find them, okay? But you definitely need 2D sonar because this 2D sonar is going to be as close to real time as possible. Now, I'm going to freeze this screen here. So this is a brush pile. Let's say I want to fish it. If I went over it the first time and I want to go back over it again, as soon as I start to see a little bit of, brush or some pixels come in, that's when I drop my first buoy, okay? That's when I throw the first buoy out. I go over it and I see all the brush, and as soon as I see it stop right there, or I guess I'd be going over it this way. As soon as I see it stop, I throw my second buoy. I know how big the brush pile is. You don't want to throw the buoy in the middle of the brush pile for 2 reasons. One, there's a chance you could get the anchor stuck and you lose your buoy. If it's a calm day, that won't happen, but if it's a windy day, there's a possible if the buoy kind of drifts and it gets tangled. Second reason, a lot of times, like right here, these fish are suspended right above that brush pile. So that's actually where you're gonna wanna fish. And when you mark your buoy, or you throw your buoys out on one side or the other of that brush pile, you can set your boat up so that you're not actually drifting over that brush pile. If you just have one buoy like this, it's a little harder. You gotta know which direction you were going when you threw the buoy out to know which direction the brush pile is. So if I'm going this way and I throw the buoy out right away when I first start to see brush and I circle back around, I gotta stay on that side of the buoy so I'm not drifting over the brush pile and potentially scaring all these fish away. So I'm actually gonna vertical jig a little bit. I'm gonna show you here real quick. Oh, the other question was, why not use down imaging sonar for this? And you need to have a split screen. Down imaging sonar, just like side imaging sonar, is historical data. I don't know the exact time as far as lag time behind 2D sonar. I'm sure you can figure it out. I'm gonna guess it's maybe a second and a half, something like that. But obviously, depends how fast you're going. If you're going 3 miles an hour, second and a half, that could mean, oh, wow, we're really getting into math here. I don't know, that could be in 10 feet of water or 30 feet of water. I don't know. You can, if you're smart enough, you can figure the math out. But, oh my goodness, there's a fish. Look at that. I gotta turn my fish ID off. Forgot I had that on. It looks like a walleye too. It actually gave a picture of a walleye. Huh. But I'm gonna guess it was probably like 4 or 5 crappie tight together. It wasn't an actual walleye. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the lag time. So the reason you want to use a 2D sonar when you're throwing the buoy out is it's going to give you almost a real-time image. The down imaging is real tough to throw a buoy out and try to guess, how far I drifted over compared to where it showed up on my screen. So that's why you want to use your 2D sonar paired with either side imaging or down imaging. But I'm going to go back over, find a brush pile, throw it out. I'm going to vertically jig a little bit. It's not going to be a full vertical jig tutorial. I'm going to get my buoy ready here. As soon as I start to see a brush pile right there, I'm going to throw it out. Okay, so that's going to be the front edge of this brush pile that I just went over. I don't think there's any fish on it, but there might be some down there. All right, so that's the back edge, or it would be the front edge as I went over it. So I'm going to circle back around. All right, so I'm going to circle back around to my buoy here. I'm going to set up. Luckily, I got the wind pushing me that way, away from the brush pile. I'm gonna set up and cast into the brush pile or vertically jig into the brush pile. Okay, so let's get set up here. All right, here we go. There's my buoy. So I'm gonna stay on this side of it. Luckily I got the wind right in my face. That brush pile is just on the other side. It looked like there's some fish kind of inside that brush pile. I could tell from my down imaging sonar. And this is actually a perfect setup. I got wind in my face. I don't really have to work the trolling motor to stay away from the brush pile. I actually have to work the trolling motor to stay into the brush pile, which is really nice. Okay, here we go. See if we can get back over to these brush piles, or this brush pile. I'm just gonna kind of flick it out over the top of the brush pile and bring it back over the top of it. I don't know, we'll see if we can actually get a fish. The ones that are suspended above the brush pile are gonna be the most active for sure. The ones inside the brush pile, sometimes are the biggest, but they can be a little tough to get them to bite. So now that I know that's actually the front of my brush pile, I'm gonna actually try to cast over the top of it and then on both sides to see if these crappie are actually suspended off. Maybe not suspended, but they might be 2-3 feet above the bottom, just off the sides of the brush pile. And they might hit something if I'm lucky. Well, unfortunately, didn't catch a fish on here. I don't know. We got a weird weather pattern coming in right now. But that is how you set up on brush piles, how to find them with the 2D. Preferably if you have down imaging or side imaging, they're great tools to find brush piles. All the videos in this series are going to be linked below. They're probably in a playlist, so if you're interested in more of these videos, click that playlist. Some great information. You guys have been enjoying this series quite a bit. This is going to be I don't know if this is going to be my last one. I said it's going to be my last one, but we'll see what I find in the comment section if you guys want more, or if you have more topics. I'm actually going to try to find some more fish today. We'll see what happens. Weird weather front. But anyway, appreciate you watching. Be sure to write in the comment section any information that you want to hear next. Also, be sure to like and share these videos. And if you're not a subscriber, bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a red subscribe button. Click that, and be sure to click the bell. The bell's going to notify you every time I post a video. All right, we'll see ya.